You are Locked On 76ers Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Philadelphia, on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome to the show. My name is Mark Farzetta. This is Locked On 76ers Postcast and Locked On Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. It's great to have you along for this ride, despite how bumpy the road has been, as we knew going into tonight's game, despite a triple-double from Joel Embiid in his first game back in a month. Last night, he was pretty much automatically held out of tonight's game. But hey, Paul George came back tonight. His first game in about 2.5 weeks. All right, PG, good to have you out there. 9 points in 32 minutes. That ain't gonna do it. I will say this: he didn't look like he was gassed. And when I say gassed, I talk about both these teams coming in here on a back-to-back. The Sixers played obviously at home last night, while the Miami Heat were in Chicago to play the Bulls. The Bulls ended up coming back on the Heat and winning that basketball game. But then the Heat come out here to Philadelphia, and they shoot over 41% from beyond the arc compared to the Sixers' 30%. And that 30% happened at the very last minute when Tyrese Maxey hit his final points of the night for 31 when he knocked down that three to give the Sixers a little bit of hope, made it 104-101 very late in the ballgame in the final seconds, 33 seconds, I think it was. And then it was all Heat. After that, they just took advantage of every opportunity. And without question, the Sixers, I don't know what they were doing, if they were planning on – well, they were obviously planning for a turnover. They weren't going for the foul. And the Heat ended up catching them with their pants down, going to the lane, knocking down a shot, and again, put the game even further out of reach in the final seconds of this one. So they got out-hustled. And Doc Rivers would use the horrible phrase scheduled loss to describe something like this. I would never. And watching this game tonight, I was reminded of Doc Rivers, mostly not because of necessarily effort overall. I think the Sixers put the pedal to the metal in this game. There was just nothing left in the tank. And I know that should never be the case with a guy like Tyrese Maxey, who's young, or a guy like Paul George, who is just coming off of an injury to his pinky. You know, it shouldn't happen with a fairly younger team in a lot of regards, with the exception of the, Kyle Lowry or Eric Gordon or Reggie Jackson. They're older. But some other guys, you're depending on a little bit more. And you got some good performances tonight for some of the younger guys, Dembona being one of them. But he can't be your number one guy off the bench to help you out in a game like this. You got to get more. And the Sixers, more so than effort, it was more so production. And a perfect example of that is 28 shots by Tyrese Maxey tonight for 31 points. That's what I refer to in this game in particular when I use the word gas. They just weren't connecting, especially in the early goings of this game. Things improved a little bit later in the game. We'll go through the numbers as I guess the adrenaline was kicking in for him. I don't know. But missed layups in this, missed three-point attempts, shots that were just off by a little bit. That, to me, is where the fatigue factor reared its ugly head. And I know the Sixers have had an ungodly amount of back-to-backs. I don't care. And I know some people might look at that like Doc Rivers looked at it when he was a Sixers coach. Scheduled loss. These are scheduled losses. No excuses. No excuses. And the Sixers, as far as I'm concerned, remind me a lot of their front office tonight. Their front office is obviously not saying win now. And hey, look, I'm excited that it looks like Gershon Yabusele is going to be sticking around. But deal a guy like KJ Martin, deal a guy like Caleb Martin. These are guys that were giving you either starter minutes or good minutes in general. They got banged up a little bit along the way, and then they're dealt. So let's get to that. Let's avoid that tax. You know what I mean? If you're the Sixers. If you're winning. Not the most important thing, unfortunately, for this 10-9-8-76ers squad. But anyway, welcome into the show. This is Locked On 76ers Postcast and the Locked On Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. My name is Mark Farzetta. Make sure you hit like and subscribe on Locked On Sports Philadelphia. And don't forget that your favorite podcast now has a newsletter, Locked On 76ers Daily Newsletter. One stop for ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. Sign up for free at LockedOnDaily.com. That's LockedOnDaily.com. And get your all-new free Locked On 76ers Daily Newsletter. This particular episode is brought to you by the wonderful people at the Game Time app. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use promo code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase with the Game Time app. 3 big things. It's been a big point of emphasis for me, for Tyrese Maxey, and not necessarily being a volume scorer, but being an efficient scorer. Everybody in the NBA should strive to be that, and Tyrese Maxey has the ability to do it. When he doesn't know who he's going to be playing with on any given night, I can understand that this would be a little difficult. So I don't look for necessarily assist numbers to be there every night, but I would like to see more efficient scoring for Tyrese Maxey. And recently, over the last 2-3 weeks, we have been seeing that from him. The other thing we've been seeing him is steady production. The efficiency isn't always there, but the production is always there, even if he has to take 28 shots to get you 31 points, even if he does go 6 for 6 from the charity stripe to get you to 31 points tonight, which he did. Even if it is now, 16 straight games Tyrese Maxey has gotten you at least 28 points, 16 straight games, including tonight, 7 straight games of 30 or more points to help out the 76ers. That's great for Tyrese Maxey. Where you're getting the help. He was everything you needed him to be. Unfortunately, he wasn't efficient, but he still was your leading scorer by a pretty huge majority. So I don't necessarily have Maxey in my crosshairs tonight, as much as I have to point out that it was another 30-point performance, and then you look around and you say, where's the help? And that brings me to number 2. So I want to acknowledge Tyrese Maxey's 31-point performance for helping the Sixers out as much as he could tonight. Also, how about this? Only 1 turnover in 38 minutes for Tyrese Maxey. But look at this. After that, you got Kelly Oubre with 15. Nobody else in your starting lineup, even in double figures in scoring. To get double figures in scoring, other than Kelly Oubre, that is, you got to go to Adem Bona, who dropped in 11 points, and Reggie Jackson, who dropped in 10 points tonight for the Sixers, thanks in large part to 6 points coming by way of the 3-point shot. He played 12 minutes and got to 10 points tonight. Maybe that's where you look a little bit more in the direction of Nick Nurse. But for me, nobody is helping out. If you look at the Miami Heat tonight and what they were able to accomplish, not just off the court with trading Jimmy Butler, we'll get to that in a second, but what they were able to accomplish tonight in their bench help is ridiculous. Terry Rozier is not an NBA player that I should hate, but I hate Terry Rozier. All right? Sports hate, okay? From his time with the Celtics and their first matchup with the Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid Sixers to now, I hate Terry Rozier, okay? 20 points on the Sixers tonight, drops 3 threes on them tonight, 3 of 7 shooting. Nikola Jovic tonight, he goes off for 23 points on the Sixers in 37 minutes. He hit 3 of 4 from beyond the arc. These guys were thorns in your side throughout the night. They combined for 43 points. That's the Miami Heat bench. So not only did you just get guys in double figures in scoring, practically two guys outscore everything that your 2 leading scorers on your bench were outscored by 1 of theirs. That ain't great. That's not great. You're not going to win a lot of basketball games like that, especially on a back-to-back where you're looking to get your reserves in. And look at this. You have 18 minutes from Bona. You have 14 from Lowry tonight. He only got you 3 points. Reggie Jackson got you 12 minutes. Eric Gordon got you 26 minutes tonight. He only mustered a measly 5 points, was 1 for 5 from beyond the arc. And Ricky Council played 5 minutes. I was surprised he only played 5 minutes tonight. And he got you nothing in the point category, unfortunately. So to compare the benches tonight was an atrocity. And that's what we saw in the 76ers tonight. No one's asked for the help. None tonight. Oh, George is back in the lineup, which brings me to number 3. Talk about the bench players not being able to help out Tyrese Maxey. Paul George, is this just what we're going to get? Because our friend Keith Pompey, who does Locked On 76ers daily podcast with Kayla Santiago, he's written stories about how now is not the time to trade Paul George. So let me get this straight. I got to be all patient with Joel Embiid. And I would love to say that Joel Embiid's now going to unleash the fury. I would love to say that, when the 76ers are back at it, they got the Pistons coming up in Detroit Saturday, I believe it is, or Friday it is. They got the Pistons coming up Friday. So when they're in Detroit for the 7:30 tip-off Friday night, that's where I got to go. That's an ESPN game, by the way. That's the game where you got to go, oh, yeah, this is where Joel Embiid really unleashes the fury. And this is the moment now where Joel Embiid's going to be healthy until he's not. And by healthy until he's not, I don't mean like he's healthy and then he's, the swelling in the knee ramps up again. Oh, jeez, let me get the word ramp up. But not just the knee, but something else. Because that's the thing you always have to keep in mind with Joel Embiid. There's something. There's something next. It's not just the knee. It's not just the ankle. It's not just the foot. It's not just the face. It's not just the gastroenteritis. It's not just the broken hand or whatever. It's not just that. It's always something else. So we'll cross our fingers, but we already have that to worry about. Now we have to worry about Paul George. This was ultimately the worst fear that you had. In bringing Paul George in here, I know everyone wanted to flock to the idea of 46, 47% from beyond the arc, how great he was shooting last year. It was incredible how well he was shooting from beyond there. Everyone was focused on that, and that's good. That's the optimistic part of it. But when it comes to the injury factor, and you're talking about a guy in Paul George who has certainly had his fair share of injuries throughout his career, now 34 years old, going to be 35 by the time probably out of the playoffs by then. But, he'll be 35 in May. You're looking at what he's been able to do throughout his career, and unfortunately, there has been a lot of injuries. So now we have added another injury-prone player to this lineup. And I'm sorry, 41% from beyond the arc, not 46. That didn't sound right when I said it, but 41%, which was the highest in his career since ever. That was the highest in his career. He never shot 41.3%. 41.2% was the highest before that. But this is what you got in Paul George. And you have not been getting that kind of production from him. When he started to hit a little bit of a stride right before he hurt his pinky, you started to see some good things. And now it's another, I'll use the word for him, ramp up period for Paul George. Not trending in the right direction for your 76ers. They now go 10 games below 500 yet again. Not fun. I really hope this isn't the Paul George that we see for the rest of the season. Because just like Joel Embiid, you're going to be waiting for the next thing. Hyperextended knee? Again? Hammy? You're going to get hammy thrown in here? I certainly hope not. Not rooting for it. Certainly not wishing it into existence. This is just the track record of two guys that you're depending heavily on to make your season not a complete waste of time. When we come back, we'll break down one player's performance tonight. And in a very, very, what's the term? Earrings on a pig? That was the tonight's performance. But hey, those were at least some nice earrings. That's what we'll talk about when we can return. Also, the big trade that went down in the NBA tonight. We'll talk about that in a few. That's when we return on Locked On 76ers Postcast and the Locked On Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. Game Time app. Game Time app is fantastic. Have you tried the Game Time picks feature on the Game Time app? We've talked a lot about it. You know you work hard. Why do you want to be hassled with getting tickets? You want to make it easy as possible, right? You want to take the guesswork out of buying tickets? Take advantage of it all with the Game Time app and the Game Time picks feature on the Game Time app. I recently grabbed a super deal on some prime seats thanks to the Game Time app and the Game Time picks feature, which allows you to literally save yourself some time so you don't have to filter through thousands of tickets and you just see the best seats at the best prices with the Game Time app. So download the Game Time app, create an account, use promo code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. You're covered with Game Time's lowest price guarantee, by the way. That means if you find a better deal somewhere else, they'll refund your account 110% of the difference. Plus, your tickets are guaranteed to be delivered on time with easy cancellation options if something comes up. So, take the guesswork out of buying tickets with the Game Time app. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use promo code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, use the redemption code LOCKEDONNBA. That's LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. This is Locked On 76ers Postcast on the Locked On Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. I am Mark Farzetta. Make sure you guys like and subscribe to Locked On Sports Philadelphia. Another player I've been tracking, and as I told you guys months ago when it came to the 76ers season and we were waiting for Joel Embiid and what's going to happen with him, well, what has happened with him is pretty much what a lot of us expected to happen with him. He plays sparingly this year for whatever reason, and we'll all cross our fingers that one day that knee is not swelling up after an intense workout, and I was sure as heck hope that he is back in action on Friday night against the Pistons in Detroit. I'll wait with bated breath. But when it comes to everything else, it has come down to the progression of some of the younger guys on this team. And one of the guys I've kept a close eye on is Adem Bona. And Adem Bona tonight, I mentioned the 18 minutes that he played tonight. He played very aggressive under the basket. He got you 5 rebounds in those 18 minutes, including 3 on the offensive side of things and just 2 on the defensive side of things. But he also got you 11 minutes. But there was a couple instances tonight with Adem Bona that I really liked that I want to go back to. And there was a situation late in the third quarter where the Sixers were starting to get back into the game. The Miami Heat built up, I believe it was a 10-point lead at this point in the game. And Adem Bona creates a turnover on the other end, on the defensive end. Then he gets his efforts rewarded later on. It was the beginning of the fourth quarter. Bona created the turnover down on the defensive end, ends up getting two the other way. It made it a 7-point ball game in the early goings of that fourth quarter. Sixers tried to get a little thing going after that, but unfortunately, they just weren't able to do it. But Bona, throughout the night, late in the third quarter, he did have a jam with about 33 seconds left in the game. That made it an 86-78 Miami Heat lead. Then Bona ended up getting a free throw after that, hit the free throw, made it 86-79. That was when they had that really weird instance at the end of the third quarter where they ended up putting 0.5 seconds back on the clock. 0.5 of a second, I should say, back on the clock. And we go to commercial. They go to commercial, come back, and they're like, by the way, the third quarter's not really done, and 0.5 of a second. Okay, now the third quarter's done. Whatever. Seemed to upset Nick Nurse for some reason. Just a weird sequence. And then Nick Nurse proceeded to get extremely red-faced with the way the officials were calling the game. He was none too pleased. And this is where I really wished that the 76ers would actually have Kate Scott and Al Abdelnaby there on the court so they can hear everything that's going on and transpiring, so that they could tell everyone at home, because that'd be nice. But unfortunately, that's not the case anymore. So Sixers have that weird instance there at the start of the fourth quarter where they play the end of the third, then start the fourth. And then there was just no answer from Tyler Herro to Terry Rozier to Jovic in this game, excuse me. There was just no stop. Bam Adebayo coming up huge. There was no stopping him. But Adem Bona, a nice little effort tonight from him. And I love the way that he was able to run the floor. I love how he was more aggressive than he normally is. And the Sixers, as we know, with Gershon Yabusele being your center, without Joel Embiid or Andre Drummond, you need as many guys to step up as possible that are over 6'7". 6'6". You need as many of those guys to step up to play the center position as humanly possible. So I'll keep my fingers crossed for that. As for the big trade, the second time in as many nights there is a rather large trade, and then the Sixers play that team. And no, I'm not talking about Quentin Grimes playing for the Mavericks and then the Sixers. Obviously, I'm talking about Luka Doncic. Mavs then take on the Sixers. And then tonight, the Sixers in the process of taking on the Miami Heat. Jimmy Butler finally gets dealt. He goes to the Golden State Warriors via Shams Charania. Puts it out during the game that the Miami Heat finalized the deal for Jimmy Butler to go to Golden State Warriors for Andrew Wiggins, Dennis Schroeder, and Kyle Anderson, and a protected first-round pick. There's a little bit more. There's some speculation about P.J. Tucker maybe going, may not be going, maybe going, may not be going. But anyway, Jimmy Butler out of Miami, and he now moves on to the Golden State Warriors. The question in Philadelphia was, would you want Jimmy Butler here? Yes. Hell yes, I wanted Jimmy Butler here in Philadelphia. I find it insanely telling, though, that Jimmy Butler wanted nothing to do with coming back to Philadelphia. There was never and he might be back in Philadelphia. It was always the Mavericks, the Warriors. Those were always the teams that were mentioned with Jimmy Butler. The Suns was a team that was mentioned with Jimmy Butler. Do you think Jimmy Butler wants to come back to this crap show? Do you think he wants to come back here? No, he doesn't want to come back here. If it was up to any Philadelphia fan, I think they'd love to have Jimmy Butler back here in Philadelphia. But I don't think Jimmy. Yeah, I'm going to go here. I don't think Jimmy trusts the process. And by the process, I don't mean the process of tanking and all that stuff. I don't think Jimmy Butler trusts Joel, the process, and Embiid. That's who I'm talking about. I don't think he trusts him to be healthy. He's like, wait a minute, hold on a second. This guy's now north of 30, and he's going to be healthier and better than I was when I played with him. He might be better when he's healthy, but he's not going to be healthy for the long run. So I don't fault Jimmy Butler in the least bit when it comes to not having Philadelphia on his short list. Don't blame him one bit. One more thing about tonight's basketball game. I mentioned how often Nick Nurse was pissed off, especially in the fourth quarter. The dagger, I think for Nick Nurse, he had to call a timeout. He was so fired up after an offensive 3 seconds on Gershon Yabusele. I thought his head was going to pop off his shoulders. And then 2:47 left in the game. Pelle Larsson knocks down the 3. Sixers call timeout. Now they're down 7, and that was the kill shot after that. All right, when we come back, we'll take a look at what the Sixers got coming up next and what we can expect. I'll also peruse social media, see if anything has come out regarding Joel Embiid's status for Friday night in the Motor City. That's when we return on Locked On Sports Philadelphia, Locked On 76ers postcast. You guys have heard me talking about BetterHelp. BetterHelp can help you out. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. And what are some of your relationship green flags? Not red flags, but green flags. If you're not sure what they look like, therapy can help you identify them, actively practice them, and even embody the green flag energy yourself. Whether you're dating, whether you're married, building a friendship, or just working on you, therapy can help you form relationships that love you back. Therapy helps you develop healthy boundaries and improves your communication skills. It empowers you to set clear expectations and express your needs in relationships. Therapy provides tools for managing conflict in ways that strengthen your connection rather than break them down. BetterHelp makes it easy by offering online therapy with over 30,000 licensed therapists to choose from. And if you need to switch therapists, you could do so at no extra cost. Discover your relationship green flags with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/LockedOnNBA today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOnNBA. Once again, visit BetterHelp.com/LockedOnNBA today to get 10% off your first month with BetterHelp. That's BetterHelp, BetterHelp.com/LockedOnNBA. As I mentioned, your 10-9-8 76ers are back at it Friday night for a 7:30 tip-off in the Motor City with the Detroit Pistons. Your Sixers still trying to build some semblance of momentum as they go on to take on the Pistons, who just lost to the Atlanta Hawks 2 nights ago. 132 to 130. Before that, they had beat the Bulls and they had beat the Mavericks. So they had a nice little 2-game winning streak going for themselves. But they are right now 25-26 on the season. Sixers now 20-30 on the year. So the Pistons, I believe, lost to the Cavaliers tonight, 118 to 105. Yes. Garland hit a buzzer-beating 3. Cade Cunningham had 28 points on the night, and the Cavs came away with the 118-115 win over the Detroit Pistons tonight in Detroit. So that's the way that one works. Wow, they really battled the Cavs well. Lost the first quarter 34 to 26, and then came back in the third quarter to win that one 27-21. Everything else was either tied or a 1-point advantage, as you would assume in a 118-115 game. But yeah, throughout. How about that? What did our boy Tobias Harris do? 8 points in 25 minutes. Don't miss you. Oh, is he out now? Oh, he got hurt. He suffered a leg injury in the game. All right. Well, there you go. All right. Let's get to the chat. Check and see you guys are doing. BC, welcome back. Nice to see you. Glad you're really excited about your Lakers, LeBron, and Luka, and holding hands and skipping and eating puppy dogs, or should be eating ice cream and playing with puppy dogs. Said that wrong. Anyway, BC, yeah, that's great. I don't know what that is, but okay. Sir Sketchable, just move the team to DC and give us the Wizards. That's great. Who even cares more, right? Calm down, BC. Your Yankees choked and your Cowboys are a dumpster fire. I just kind of guessed that BC's favorite team was the Yankees, but Sir Sketchable, if you're speaking with an educated opinion on that, which I'm certain that you are, or maybe you're just guessing like me, that's pretty funny to me. Gotta wonder, Jimmy Butler and Draymond and Jimmy. Ooh, what does this remind me of? This reminds me of, in a much lesser degree, who was it? Was it PJ Tucker? Oh, who was with and Patrick Beverley? I want to win more. No, I want to win more. No, I want to win more. No, I want to win more. But I want to win more. No, I want to win more. That's what it's going to be like with Draymond and Jimmy Butler. That's what it's going to be like. It's going to be some good times. It's going to be some good times out there. Could cause for some comedy. Thank you, Elliot. I appreciate it. It ain't cool. It ain't great. And to get more specific about this loss tonight for the Sixers, there's no help on the way. I don't expect anything. Like Quentin Grimes was what was he going to do? Like, I'm not. People brag about he could shoot the threes, 37%. Okay. Like, there's no move. Like, there was no even attempt at bringing in talent that will help this team win now. The goal is not that anymore. The goal right now is not even the goal, but it's the strategy. As the old saying goes, hope is not a strategy, but the Sixers' strategy and hope right now, unfortunately, is that Joel Embiid is magically healed and can hit some stride before the playoffs, and that Paul George finds his way and can stay healthy enough, can stay healthy long enough to find his way on this offense. And then all the while, Tyrese Maxey figures out how to play with all these guys. Because here's one thing that I don't doubt for a second. And I thought last night's game against the Mavericks was the perfect example of this. Joel Embiid had a great night. Triple-double, great night for him. 29 points, it's great. 10 rebounds, great. But Tyrese Maxey was the star of the show throughout. That's got to be how the season's going to play out. Because I don't want to see Tyrese Maxey. And you'll have games where Joel Embiid will come back, drop 40. He'll have games like that. But the consistent guy in the lineup, not just health-wise, but production-wise, has to be Tyrese Maxey. Because I don't want him fluctuating roles and responsibilities on this team. The only difference I want to see is that when I look at the box score after the game, and I pop it up on the monitor for you guys, and it says next to Tyrese Maxey's name, okay, 31 points, good. And then right where it says in the line assists, it's more than 5. That's what I want to see. Also, 3 of 11 from beyond the arc. I'd like to see that improved as well. But mostly, with a guy like Joel Embiid in the lineup, his assists are going to go to 13 like they were last night. But that's the main thing I want to look at when I see Tyrese Maxey. I want to see those assist numbers go up. That ain't going to happen unless anybody else obviously around him is scoring. And it's got to be more than Kelly Oubre. It's got to be more than Gershon Yabusele. It's got to be Joel Embiid healthy and in the lineup. By the way, my peruse on social media doesn't give you any information about Joel Embiid. The only thing I'm seeing is from our friend Keith Pompey, who's asking people their biggest takeaway. The Sixers suck. That's what I'm seeing in people's response. This is great. Oh, we're all having fun here. Anyway, I'll be back with you guys on Friday to break it all down. I can't wait for that. That'll be a good time. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. This is Locked On 76ers Postcast and the Locked On Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. Make sure you guys like and subscribe to follow along all season long for all these good times. Your favorite podcast, by the way, now has a newsletter, introducing Locked On 76ers Daily Newsletter. One stop for the ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. Sign up for free at LockedOnDaily.com. That's LockedOnDaily.com. Once again, make sure you hit like and subscribe on Locked On Sports Philadelphia, so you can follow along for not just Locked On 76ers Postcast, but Locked On Phillies Postcast when we get that underway again this year. And then Jason Martinez and Harry Mays have you covered for the Super Bowl with the Eagles and Kansas City Chiefs kicking off this Sunday. Officially 6:33, I believe it is. Harry Mays and Jason Martinez will have you guys covered for your Locked On Eagles postcast following the Super Bowl right here on Locked On Sports Philadelphia. So make sure you hit like and subscribe for that as well. Once again, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. My name is Mark Farzetta. Have a great rest of your night. See you guys on Friday.